Turn up your FM dial. We are on the air across southern United States, Alabama, Kentucky, Mississippi, Florida. Oh. Am I doing that wrong show? Am I doing that history show again? Oh, okay. Well, this here is Pandora's box. And the legend of Pandora's box is a very interesting one. The box was opened, and all the evils of the world flew out, and the only thing left was hope. What does this legend even mean? Let's check out this segment. According to the Pandora's box story, why is Pandora's box a box from which all manner of insect species ensued? Why a box? Did this actually happen? The Noah story of rescuing animals is possibly mixed up with the story of a technological box which was possibly used to preserve all species with samples of their DNA, also known as an ark. The two stories became combined. For instance, who would tell a story of two of every kind of animal sitting on a boat? We need a scenario to explain the two stories of Pandora's box, as well as Noah's Ark, as well as explaining the existence of the other ark and its bizarre electrical properties, out of which strange fire ensued. The Ark of the Covenant may have been unearthed in some geopolymer cave, or once held inside the Great Pyramid itself as a time capsule. It was carried around by the Israelites fleeing their homes in the Nile Delta as an artefact and lucky charm to assist in their future victories, inside a tent they called the tabernacle. It is one of the many abundant proofs of a lost civilization. The splendour of the technological artefact proved for them that God was real and had made a promise to their nation. It may have been made of an indestructible material. It is evident to any who attempt a study of the Ark that it is a kind of electrical device. The electrical properties which seem to have struck down any who attempted to open it may have been a kind of power-generating nuclear supply which would last for eons if necessary, and built with a technology that we today cannot fathom. There may have been basic instructions on how to open the box to replenish the world with all of its species. There is a question of whether the Arks or Pandora boxes containing the DNA of all species were built for lay or specialised users. Were they simply a refrigerated device made for storing micro or nano-arrays of millions of samples of DNA, or were they built to be opened by anybody, thence automatically functioning, spreading spores out across the local area to create a forest ecosystem populated by insects? This was followed by the timed release later of animals to factory reset the world to the way it was before the advent of the supercivilization. It is apparent that even in our own era, civilization is accompanied by the destruction of nature. In less than 100 years' time, the fish of the world's oceans will have been long gone. The same problem was long apparent to a civilization which existed long before our own. Their naturalists of 80,000 years ago scoured the globe in search of the DNA of every species. It was then thought to be prudent and benevolent, therefore, to place the samples within indestructible boxes to pop open with explosive charges timed to re-release older species once found on the planet every 50,000 years, or at any appropriate time period, thus restoring the world to a former state, just in case. As an act of benevolence to future generations, a Pandora scheme, initiated as early as 100,000 years ago or even earlier, was possibly enacted. In this way, any superweapon system would have been accompanied by an automated cleanup period afterwards, consisting of regeneration of the world's ecosystems, as per before their own era. They wished to hand a pristine world to future generations, erasing the memory of their own intelligent, yet self-destructive kind forever. Their scheme failed. The Amazon became an out-of-control monster, quickly consuming cities and towns once built over desert-like sandy soil, with only small temperature rises. The Sahara either failed to regenerate or became a desert. Australia remained a wasteland. This scenario may explain why the world was filled with mammoths and other creatures quickly hunted down by humans after the recovery of human populations, well after the last series of great catastrophes, which seem to have put an end to the Great World Civilization between 60,000 and 112,000 years ago. They had simply been recreated, the older civilization once again overrun with nature, and humans decimated to a very low number of survivors, after devastating impacts in Carolina and across the Northern Hemisphere. The civilization before the catastrophe barely knew the days of the technology of old from before 60,000 years ago. The civilization which followed the catastrophe was even more in ignorance, only recalling the memory in Egypt that all of the world was once of one language. It was more primitive than the one it had replaced, and today we refer to it with some justification as the Stone Age, an age lacking mercy or compassion. An interesting fact alluded to in a previous video is that the sarcophagus in the Khufu pyramid is about the same size as the dimensions of the Ark of the Covenant as provided in the Bible. In addition, the pyramid itself was made to be almost indestructible by its sheer size and precision, along with the weight of the immovable massive blocks able to survive any flood or even cometry or atomic devastation, and emerge with barely a scratch. It perhaps resembles the fallout architecture of lost civilizations. It is said that Khufu wished to build a pyramid able to survive any catastrophe which would preserve the science of the ancients, whatever that was. It is a legend handed down through the ages. Arks such as Tutankhamun's, which are rather similar but lack the electrical properties described in the Bible, may be replicas, Egyptian variants, designed to show royal authority in Egypt and divine sanction. It was a case of, if they can have one, why can't we have one too? Guys, if you thought that was good, you're not going to believe what's coming up next. Because I can't believe what's coming up next. It's unbelievable. So hit that sub button and I'll see you next time.